This is lesson 10-6, trigonometric ratios, day 2, part 2. Our last example is a triangle ABC. It is a right triangle, and we are told to solve the right triangle. Angle B is given as 43 degrees, and side BC is given as 12. So we are still going to be looking for then little b and little c, and we need to find angle A. Angle A should be our first stop because it's the easiest. So we would say the measure of angle A is going to be 90 minus 43, which is 47 degrees for angle A. Now you're not going to use the 47 degrees to find the other things. You're going to stick with the B of 43 degrees and the 12. And you just got to see how everything's related. Okay, so let's start with finding hypotenuse C. I've got 43 degrees and 12. How is that side of 12 related to angle B? Is it opposite or adjacent? Adjacent. So we're using one that is adjacent. And we need to find the hypotenuse. So which trig function uses adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. So I would write cosine of 43 degrees is 12 over C. I have the angle measure. So we're going to do cosine of 43 degrees in my calculator and get 0.7314 equals 12 over C. Remember to put this over 1 and you cross. So 0.7314 C equals 12. Divide both sides by 0.7314. And I would get 16.40, so we're going to say 16.4. It doesn't have a unit of measure, so we're just going to say 16.4. Okay, questions about that? Last but not least, we need to find little b. In relation to angle B, which side is little b? Opposite. Opposite, and we have adjacent. Which trig function uses opposite and adjacent? Tangent. So tangent of 43 degrees is opposite B over 12 adjacent. All right, and I'm going to do tangent of 43 degrees .9325 equals B over 12, and this time I really only have to multiply both sides by 12, don't I? Because the variable's not on the bottom. So I take 0.9325 times 12, 11.19, and rounding off we would say 11.2. And we have solved the right triangle. We found all missing parts. All missing parts. Questions? Josh?
What's wrong with if we just did like Pythagorean theorem and we did after we find the hypotenuse, what we just go ahead and do?
Because you never, when there is a multi-step problem, you never want to, if you can avoid it, use an answer you solved for to continue to solve for another, because if you made a mistake along the way or rounded a little bit off or something, then all of your other answers would be wrong. You want to almost always in math, you're gonna understand and realize you always go back to the given, because that doesn't change. To figure everything, use your given, and answers are gonna be more chances of having less mistakes. Olivia,
I always get confused with the basic like
what's that?
I always get them mixed up. Like, how do you kind of
So katoa. How do you understand which one's adjacent and which one's opposite?
I always get those confused.
Well, if you're looking at angle B right here, if I change my color here, if I'm looking at B and the 12 is given, you see how 12 is part of B? Can't be opposite then, it's part of it. That's what makes it adjacent. The opposite is if it doesn't touch the angle at all. That's the opposite. But the side that's part of it is the adjacent. That's how you tell. And that's how I said don't ever get confused with thinking, well, the hypotenuse is part of B, but no, the hypotenuse is always the hypotenuse. When we say opposite and adjacent, we're only referring to the legs. Okay, so the one that touches it is adjacent. The one that doesn't touch it would be opposite.